So look, our next panellist is a lady who I have known maybe 3 years, and we actually met online. So we met online, first of all, on Facebook. That was right, wasn't it, Facebook? Yeah, we haven't met in a previous life or anything, have we? No. And there was a great connection there, and Lisa helped me through some really tough times that I went through about 3 or 4 years ago when I was going through my separation and a few other things that was happening in my life as well. So Lisa mentored me or educated me on something that I find is very, very fascinating, and it's masculine and feminine energies. And Susie Niemeyer, who's going to be on a panel later on today, is also going to talk to you a little bit about this as well. I find it to be it was a real eye-opener for me, because I'm one of those people that swings and roundabouts really between masculine and feminine energy, and I probably sit in masculine energy more than I sit in feminine energy, which can sometimes be a negative as well. So it's about learning how to balance those things as well. And Lisa's going to talk to you a bit about that. She's written a book on it also that you can see at the back of the room, and you can grab a copy of that today as well. But we're going to have a chat to her. So, ladies and gentlemen, Lisa B. There you go, darling. Now we'll turn that on. Just have to wait to see if that's working. Are we good for that one? Just test that one.
Testing.
Beautiful.
This is Naomi, who says, before we're coming up on stage, go to the toilet, make sure everything's okay. That's the feminine energy.
That's the feminine energy. I think I cope. I think when I'm nervous or I'm feeling, even under pressure, I swing to feminine energy. But when I'm confident and I'm at the gym, I'm probably in my masculine energy. So it's really interesting. I find it interesting. I hope you guys do as well. So tell us a little bit about the differences, I suppose, give us a quick rundown of the differences between masculine and feminine energy and what they look like.
Okay. Well, masculine and feminine energy, it's not gender-based. So it's a man can be in his feminine energy, a woman can be in her masculine energy. And if you look on the slide, you've got like the warrior, and that can be a man or a woman, and their objective is to conquer. It is to eye on the prize and to win. Did anybody watch The Bachelor the other night? Okay, you saw a lot of masculine energy, like classic example. And those women, they've been rewarded for that masculine energy in their workplace. I mean, not in their workplace, in their workplace. Yet in relationships, the same thing doesn't work. Okay, so that was just a really good example. So if some people get offended by the terminology masculine and feminine energy, and that's not my goal. I don't want to offend anybody. So you can call it strength, you can call it power, you can call it feminine power, you can call it whatever you like. And the feminine energy you can call love and peace, because that's the ultimate goal of the feminine energy. So when I first, because I've been in real estate since 1993, and I really went into my masculine energy, like total 100%. So the scale here of masculine energy, I was there. The feminine energy, I didn't have any, which meant to me when I was at work, I was focused. When I wasn't at work, I was the same. So, and I carried that over into my relationships and everywhere. And I had the success in my office, I had everything, but I wasn't happy. I didn't feel fulfilled. And I thought, well, what is wrong with me? I've got all this success and monetary rewards and everything, but I'm not happy. And I really felt that I'd put up so many barriers, because in real estate you have to be strong, you have to be,
resilient.
Protective as well.
Yeah, protective as well, yeah.
You're rejected so much, it's like, I'll definitely list with you. And then they're listed with somebody else. And so I don't think I cried for like 12 years. I was that strong and that, whatever. Now I cry like a baby, everything. But, and something that really, really made me see it, I went to a Tony Robbins event, A Date with Destiny, and we had to do a questionnaire type of thing, and it was how you're going to feel happy. And mine was when my office is achieving, #1 status in the whole network, when I bring in the most amount of commission, when I've got the most amount of sales, I've got the most amount of listings, when I, this award. My staff have also got to do all these things. And mine was the most messed up. So I had an intervention with Tony Robbins. And it was like, that was the scariest thing in my whole life. And that was the big wake-up call to me. There was nothing about love and connection. And I guess the whole idea of my book was to sort of, I guess, tell you the mistakes that I've made,
Sure.
you know, to sort of go, real estate's great and it's fantastic and, you know, the happiest times of my life when I was in real estate. And then what I did, I thought, oh my God, this masculine energy thing, I'm a man in this woman's body. I've got to get into my feminine energy. And so I did, and I went the complete opposite. I didn't go as far as sort of the feminine energy, the hippie kind of thing or whatever. Actually, did we put the feminine up? Yeah. So the feminine energy is all about the love and the peace kind of thing. So I didn't go the whole extreme, but I went a fair way towards it, which meant I went there and then I still wasn't happy again. And I was like, you know, and that's where I learnt you've really got to sort of flick the switch. You do. And I think that's something to for everyone to think about, where you are on that scale, whether you're 100%, and it's the extremes. You know, if you're 100% in your masculine or you're 100% in your feminine, it's going to affect your life. You're not going to feel fulfilled, or you're not going to feel loved.
Yep.
So I guess just to sort of really think about where you sort of sit on that scale.
Sure. And how do you think? And I agree. And I think if you're sitting at the extremes of either of those, it's when the damage can be done. And understanding when you are there as well, I think, is a really important thing, because it's not generally you'll know it until after it has occurred.
Awareness.
So you've got to try and, if you can acknowledge that you're at those extremes during those times, then you're able to sort of bring your alignment back in again. And it takes a bit of time, it takes a bit of effort, and it takes a bit of learning to do it as well. But I think that if you can teach yourselves how to be able to identify where you're sitting on that spectrum at any point in time, then your alignment and your output becomes a lot more efficient. So you're not so exhausted, and you don't feel like you're running around in circles. You do actually feel like you're achieving the things that you've set out to achieve, depending on where you're sitting on that spectrum. And I know I only had an incident probably, and I say incident's probably the wrong choice of words, but about 2 weeks ago, where I was so far in my masculine energy that it was detrimental to what I was trying to achieve. And it wasn't until after, and going through my head during that period of time, I was thinking, at that point in time, I was getting very, very frustrated with my environment around me. And it wasn't until I pulled myself out of it that I went, you know what, you're stupid. And I think I swore at myself. It was all you. You know, there was nothing to do with anybody else or the environment that I was in. It was all me and where I was on that spectrum and how I was handling it.
The awareness. And I call it the rules of engagement. You've really got to have the rules of engagement. You know, when you're at work and you want to be focused and whatever, do that. But when you come home, you know, don't take the man home. You know, if you're married, I've been married twice. Who else has been married more than twice? Susie? Yeah. You know, it does affect your relationships. When you go home as a man, and there's two men in the house, it does affect it. Yeah. You know, the polarity in your relationship is going to be affected.
How do you think we can use that because we're constantly managing so many different personalities, and that is not only just clients but also with staff. So I know we've got a lot of principals and business owners in the room today. So how can we use that, I suppose, to identify where our staff are sitting on that spectrum, and how we can manage them, but also how we can manage ourselves with them also.
I mean, staff, I had a woman that worked for me, and she was very much in her feminine, and I didn't really understand the dynamic of it back then. And her goal was to just help everybody else, because feminine is very much about everybody else's goals. Masculine is about your goals and achieving it, whereas feminine a lot of the time is helping everybody else.
And don't forget, we're not talking male and female here.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's
either
masculine,
one. You
can have a salesperson who's a man who's very much in their feminine energy. So really, as Janelle said, you know, she said, I really, you know, I knew that I wanted to achieve, but I had to call somebody else in. She's very feminine, and she had to call somebody else in for accountability and to help set goals and all that sort of thing. And that's what you need to do when you're in feminine energy, because I've done that. I've gone from being very masculine in my business to very feminine, and then I was like, oh my God, I forget how to do this masculine stuff, you know, like to set goals and all that sort of thing. And you can sort of feel lost. And so I guess it's just sort of balancing that. But as a principal of an office, if you've got somebody who's very feminine, you can kind of put their goals into your goals. So it's like they want to help everybody else. So it's like, let's help the team or help me to sort of achieve these goals.
Sure.
And accountability.
And then on the other end of that, if you've got somebody that's very much in their masculine energy on your team, how's the best way to handle that?
Well, really, I mean, if you can reward them with, say, massages and time off and, you know, trying to get them to, I guess, get into their heart more, because that's what it is. You know, you can be masculine. And I know, you know, you've met a lot of people, my friends, that are very successful and they've got all the wealth in the world, but they never open their heart. You know, and it was like they've got to this, you know, in their 50s and gone, shivers, I didn't prioritise that. I didn't, you know, like on mine, it was all success, success and sex. There was nothing about relationships or friendships or anything like that. So I guess it's just trying to make them aware to have time off and, you know, with their kids or their family or something like that. Yeah, sort of support that time off.
And do those principles sit the same with clients? Because we obviously don't spend as much time with clients or develop as much relationship with clients as we do with staff. So does that, would if you come across, and you know, look, we honestly do come across arrogant, we'll refer to them as arrogant clients, and they're not necessarily arrogant, they're probably in their masculine energy. How do we handle that?
Well, that's a bit of a tricky one because, I mean, you know, to butt heads with somebody, it can be detrimental to the sale. So you've really got to kind of assess it. You've got to go, do I need to fight for this or not? You know, if it's in the middle of, you know, negotiations and they're like, oh, the house is this and the house is that, you know, feminine energy might be like, oh, well, I don't want to get into the fight or I don't want it. You might have to, you know, you might have to put the big girl panties on and go, that's it, you know. This house is fine and there's nothing wrong with it and I've got a building and pest report and, you know, you might have to get into that masculine energy and...
So you think match them more than try and drag them out?
Yeah, I mean, you've just got to assess it. You know, sometimes I remember, you know, some of the times when, you know, showing buyers houses and I'd say, and I would point out all the faults and people would go, oh, you know, you're telling us all the faults. I go, oh, look, you know, there's a hole there or there's a crack there. Oh, that's all right. You know, a minute ago, oh, that's all right. But if you withheld it from them, they'd think there was something wrong. So that was sort of like, you know, just being honest and open and, you know, and being in my feminine.
Yeah,
and that
sure.
works as well. So I guess it's just assessing who you're with as well.
Yeah, interesting because it does make it easier to join them in that energy rather than try and pull them out. That's a lot easier, and I think that's probably a big thing for us when we're out there dealing with clients on such a regular basis, to be able to sort of match them on that, and put on your big girl panties, but also get into that environment with them so they know.
Also care.
Yeah, that's it, care as well.
Because a lot of the masculine salespeople are only sort of concerned about the result, and also they've got to be into their, you know, into their heart, I guess, and you know, sort of caring about the sale and caring about the people as well. Yeah,
absolutely. So give us a little bit of a rundown on the book, if you want to show everybody what the book looks like, and the name, pretty catchy name.
It's called Banish the Bitch and Bring Out the Babe. So actually I've got copies up the back, but I wanted to give everybody a gift of my audiobook. So it's not out until the 26th of August. So anybody that wants a copy of that, if you come up the back and I'll take your name and I can
Beautiful,
email it out
thank
to you.
So so that's a copy of Lisa's audiobook. Just go and see her when we have our break. So ladies and gentlemen, Lisa B.